All right, let's do another in the series, part 3, where I am discussing massive societal change. Today happens to be Earth Overshoot Day. Earth Overshoot Day is not like Earth Day, which I don't know when that started, back in the 70s. Earth Overshoot Day is a calculation. It is the day, according to calculations, I'm not sure who does them, when the humans living on Earth have consumed one whole Earth's worth of natural resources. So that's fresh water, arable land, fish in the sea, things. So it's a long list. And I don't know how they do the calculation, but it's the day when we've eaten everything on Earth. And so you might think, well, that can't be true because we still eat. Fair enough. But when we do continue to eat, what that means is that we are digging into... let me mute this thing. I'm getting some feedback on my headset. It means that everything we eat after today, we're digging into other resources. So, for example, if you were taking your irrigation from the rain, then on this day, in theory, you've consumed all the rainwater. So what are you doing now? Well, maybe you run out of water. That's possible. There are places that will run out of water. Or you may resort to bringing water in trucks. Or you may resort to piping water in from distant locations, or maybe stealing someone else's water who still has water. So there are ways you can continue doing your thing when you have run out of the thing. And that's, of course, this is the dark side of Earth Overshoot, is that someone probably is going to suffer. And if not someone, then the future. Because we're just going to keep going into overshoot, and we're going to keep drawing down the natural resources every year until there aren't any. And that's a bad deal. Oh, and by the way, Earth Overshoot Day occurs, at least since they've been calculating it, earlier every year. So whatever we're doing, biggering, fastering, becoming more mechanized, more people, more corporations involved, whatever the problem is, or the reality is, we are consuming more resources even faster than the year before. And this should not come as a surprise, of course. We're burning more fossil fuels this year than the year before. We're emitting more CO2 in the atmosphere this year than the year before. And then if you follow all the other things happening in the world, like the sixth mass extinction, we're destroying more habitat every year than the year before. We're extincting more species this year compared to last year, and so on and so forth. This is the same litany. It's all Earth Overshoot. Now, how does that tie into what I'm talking about here, which is global climate change and our dependency on fossil fuels, and because of that, the necessity for massive societal change? Let's see if I can do this. I picked the topic because of the day, so let's see if I can bring everything back around. And do it quickly. So, some people will tell you that Earth Overshoot Day is caused by population overshoot, that the two are related, that they are the same problem, they're different sides of the same coin, or some terminology like that. It's not true. Earth Overshoot is a symptom of a great many problems. Also, overpopulation is a symptom of a great many things that have happened. Some of the overpopulation was allowed because of childhood immunization, reduced childhood death, increasing average lifespan as a result, decreasing maternal mortality. So women, giving birth to more children and surviving to do so, and so on. We have permitted the population of the world to grow by providing more food for people. So we have food banks, and we have aid organizations that, and here in the U.S. we had USAID that would go to our own farmlands, find the surplus there, and just buy it at market rates to send it overseas. Our farmers have not, for generations now, our farmers have not had to suffer through any sort of overproduction crisis that drops the price of things and makes farmers go bankrupt. And that's all been taken care of because USAID would simply buy whatever you have. Just buy it up. You got some extra? We'll buy it up and we'll send it, whatever, to Sudan or Egypt or Pakistan or, anywhere that needs it. So, but the point I want to make, though, is not that, yes, we had USAID, which we don't anymore, by the way. Good luck to the farmers. I don't know what the hell they're going to do with their surplus. I guess, well, it's not going to go to the people, is it? There's not going to be any mechanism to sell it to the people unless some other organization shows up, the Red Cross or something, and they start buying the food and sending it to the places that need it. All of this, though, everything I've just said, childhood immunization, disease control in general, disease vector control, hospitalization, maternal care, food surplus deliveries, democratization, getting rid of regional wars, everything in that list. And it's a long list. I could be here for 3 more minutes just listing things off the top of my head. All these things are enabled by fossil fuels. All these solutions are enabled by fossil fuels. And as a consequence, we have alleviated a lot of, some people say, unnecessary deaths around the world. And so now we have population overshoot as a consequence. And as a consequence of that, we have Earth Overshoot Day. It's not even as simple as that. I mean, I could just say all that and you'll say, yes, it's all those people. No, it isn't. It's also the fact that we use fossil fuels to mechanize resource extraction, which then goes to wealthy white people in the organized North, right? And what do they do with it? Oh, they make luxury cars and they make private jets, and so everybody gets to play a part in this. And it's all of it made possible through the copious consumption of fossil fuels. Now, that works, right? We have fossil fuels. We're not running out, so we can feed the people. We can have more people. What's the theoretical maximum number of people? I don't know. 10 billion? 15 billion? Who knows how many we can feed? We'll just keep growing crops and feeding people. Of course, it's dumb. It's not going to work like that. But people can say things like that. People who don't want to imagine not feeding people can say, well, we can feed 20 billion people if we want to. It's fine. We have enough land. We have enough fertilizers. We have enough cargo ships to move this stuff. We have enough airplanes and cargo planes, and we can just feed people. We can feed 20 billion people. Easy. And you'll hear discussions like that. And the answer is no, we can't. We can't. Because even if you could, and there was no other objections to it, you can't. And not because I said so, but because to do so, you must dig up and consume even more fossil fuels every year. And the result of doing that is that you emit the carbon dioxide that comes from the consumption of those fuels, because they are consumed, into the atmosphere, which enhances the greenhouse effect. Now, and you say, well, that's okay too. That's a different problem. No, it's the same problem. It's the same problem, because now Earth Overshoot Day is going to become complicated and wound up in global heating. You're using fossil fuels to extend the productivity of land. You're basically strip mining the land. And without artificial fertilizers, this land would simply fail. You're bringing in irrigation water into more marginal places for growth. You're bringing in irrigation water and forcing these places into production by using artificial irrigation, as well as the artificial fertilizers and the hybridized seeds and the tractors and everything else that comes. All of it made possible with fossil fuels. The pipeline, the fertilizers, the trucks, the hybridized seeds, the tractors, the harvesting equipment, the moving, the silos, the storage, everything, all of it, 100%. Every single thing, everything I mentioned, including the farmers and the farm workers and everything, all of it, made possible by fossil fuels. And while we're doing all that, And maybe we're trying to even feed more people than we have in the past, although now, because of the Trump administration, we're trying to feed fewer, but that's how it goes. We're creating a system here, we're creating a situation here on the earth where growing food is going to become actually impossible. And the word is impossible. We are in for some massive societal change, whether you like it or not, whether I like it or not. We could sit around and find a bajillion ways to feed the people of the world and have 20 billion people, all of them properly fed and immunized and clothed and housed and watered and sheltered and everything else. And yet still it's all going to come to an end. It has to come to an end because of global heating. Not because I say so, but because of physics. The types of plants that we use for crops are plants that we discovered and cultivated and basically domesticated 8,000 years ago, 6,000 years ago, thousands of years ago. And these plants are all what we call C3 plants. They have a metabolic pathway. It's a 3-carbon pathway. You can look this stuff up. I'm not going to go into it. C3 plants have a very specific ranges of environmental conditions in which they can grow. And one of the most important ones is temperature. And as the temperature rises, the C3 plants, their metabolic pathway starts to shut down. I read somewhere, I'd have to go look it up again. I think I actually looked it up with AI, so sometimes you can't trust those results. But it was 85 degrees Fahrenheit. At 85 degrees Fahrenheit, C3 plants, which is most of what we eat, start your list. Tomatoes, squash, potatoes, corn, wheat, barley, rice, C3 plants. They start to shut down at 85 degrees. And at whatever point it is they start to shut down, it doesn't matter how much water you put on them or how much fertilizer you put on them. You're completely misunderstanding what's happening. They're not going to grow because they can't operate. Their chemistry, their internal chemistry, which is another branch of physics. Their internal chemistry can't chem. Okay, they can't do the things they have to do to grow and put down roots, and put on leaves, and put on flowers and fruits and all the things they have to do. They can't do it. It's too hot. And and they won't wilt. And you can water them and they'll be perky, but they're not growing. Or if they do manage to grow, they're not putting on leaves. And if they do put on leaves, they don't put on flowers. And you're wondering, you're scratching your head, what do I need here? I need more fertilizer, I need more water, no, it's too hot. This is a physical limitation. Now there's another group of plants called C4 plants, and they use a different pathway to do their metabolism. But I could look it up. It's not that important. There's like one species of C4 plant that we do use as food, and the rest of them are not suitable. There is talk among biologists, of course, you can just imagine, that they're going to genetically modify the important C3 plants so that they use a C4 pathway, and now all of a sudden they're Frankenplants, and maybe using artificial intelligence we can do this over 40 years or something. Yeah, we've run out of runway, people. We've run out of runway. We're not going to fix this problem. So as the earth gets hotter and as there's more people, because we keep figuring out ways to feed the people, eventually our food supply just isn't there. I'm not going to say it dries up, because you can still water it. I'm not going to say that it gets eaten by pests because you put on pesticides. It just stops because it's too hot. The C3 plants are just like, sorry, boss, I'm not up for it today. Today's not the day. And maybe if it cools off, then they can get some work done. But if it doesn't cool off, not even at night, then they're finished. They'll get up to a certain height, and then then nothing happens. So we keep using fossil fuels to solve our problems, but we're creating and exacerbating another problem, which is global heating via the greenhouse effect. And that's just going to shut us down. It's as simple as that. You can pretend and you can do all the things, but if you keep putting CO2 in the atmosphere, you're eventually going to run into the limits of what the C3 plants can tolerate by way of temperature increase. That's it. You're done. And it'll proceed in a rolling kind of disaster. There will be some parts of the world that get hot faster than other parts, and their agriculture sectors will slowly shut down first, and then those people will find themselves with nothing to eat, so they'll flee into areas where there's still food, and maybe they'll be welcome, maybe they won't be, maybe they have money, maybe they're millionaires, so you can't really keep them out. And they move in, and then they're eating the food, and then then another group of people find themselves in an area of food production where it's suddenly too hot, and this just keeps rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling, and pretty soon you'll have groups of people or families that have moved several times because of the impacts of global heating physics on the ability of plants to metabolize physics, chemistry, physics. So it still comes down to the same thing. You can say we'll feed all the people, we'll have better programs, and we'll have more efficiency, and we'll not throw away so much food, and we'll do these things and all this other stuff, and it's a natural right to food, natural right to be healthy, and you can say all that. It's not going to matter. Physics says, yeah, whatever, think whatever you like. Yeah, that's nice, good for you. Golf clap, nice job. Now starve because it got too hot. And this, nowhere is this discussed. Once in a while I'll hear about it, like maybe twice a year. Somebody will say, and then there's the problem with the C3 plants. And they're like, what? The C3 plants, what are those? Are from Mars or something? No. All the plants you eat are C3 plants. And they eventually just shut down. It gets too hot. Oh, really? Oh, okay. Yeah, moving on. Back to sports. And no one cares about this until suddenly the food just isn't there. And the farmers won't know why it's not there. They'll put the water on, and they'll put the fertilizer on, and they'll put on the pesticides, and they'll scratch their head. What the hell's going on? Because they don't understand physics. They don't even know how their plants work. They don't even know their plants are C3 plants. They don't even know they have a temperature intolerance problem. They just won't know. Farmers won't know. I don't care who the farmer is. Unless they've actually got a master's degree in horticulture and biology and plant physiology, or a PhD, they won't even know. They have no clue. And none of the pinheads in the Department of Agriculture or the Department of the Interior or the Monsanto Corporation, none of those pinheads are going to understand it. They just won't get it because no one understands physics. That's it. And we're going to get some massive societal change. We're going to stumble into it, of course, or maybe there'll be some group somewhere trying to create frankenfoods that can, have a more robust C3 metabolic pathway that's more resistant to temperatures. Or maybe they just slice and dice the DNA and make them C4 plants and see how that works out. And maybe there's some group of people doing that, and maybe that works, and maybe that doesn't, or maybe it works, but the food that's produced is inedible. I don't know what's going to happen, right? But you can't count on it. What's the change we're talking about here? There's two pathways forward. We either do the necessary thing and save ourselves from global heating, which right now is going to be really difficult. I mean, honestly, I don't think so. And then there's the other path, which is, I guess now it's the default path. The default path is we just keep going ahead like we've always done, try to do our best. We cancel the USAID program so people starve. Okay, we're doing that now. Okay, fine. Welcome to America. And then, everybody starts to starve. Where's the food go? It didn't happen. Because of physics. And who's ready for that? Who's ready for that to be a thing? Nobody. So you're going to get massive societal change, whether you like it or not. And of course, the massive societal change I just mentioned is everybody dies. And what do they die of? Starvation. That's right. That's right, children. They die of starvation. Oh, and by the way, please notice, it doesn't matter whether you're rich or poor at that point. I mean, in theory, the rich will get the last of everything. So whatever corn is being able to be grown, and wheat, and sugarcane, and all the other things that people think they have to have in their life, wherever it is able to be grown, they will get the best of it, leaving nothing for anybody else. But even the rich are going to have to contend with the fact that C3 plants can't do their thing, whatever the thing is, roots and leaves and flowers and fruits and that thing, photosynthesis, all those things, They can't do them because it's too hot. There you go. Even the rich will have to contend with that. And they'll have to contend with that in terms of, oh, well, the food is hard to find. It's unavailable when I can get it. It's really expensive. And, and there's arguments about who's going to get, the best of what. And the billionaires get before the millionaires get. And the millionaires get before the other people get. And pretty soon the people get nothing. And that might be 99% of the world at that point. They get nothing. And you'll have your garden and you'll grow your food and you think you've got a handle on things and nothing happens for you. And even though I sit here and I say we have to have gardens, we have to grow things, I actually have a picture of Earth Overshoot Day. There we go. Half the world of nature turning into another half of the world made of garbage. This is AI generated. What do you think of that? That's pretty good, huh? So, this is inevitable. This is simply how it's going to be. There's no way to stop this. There's no way to turn this around. And look what happens if you turn it around. Let's say this is an actual hourglass. And you can turn it upside down, right? And have the sand run in the other direction. Okay, what's the problem with that? Now, the sand that you're trying to work with is garbage. Because it isn't much of a muchness. We are destroying the planet and creating garbage. And you can't turn garbage into planet. Or at least not habitat and animal life and productive areas. And you can't turn C3 plants into C4 plants. And you can't change the temperature. And you can't change the fact that the plants can't grow. They just can't metabolize. All the things they have to do don't work. The chemistry just isn't there. The chemistry doesn't work. This is physics, people. You can go out there and shout at your plants and throw water on them, throw fertilizer. It doesn't matter. They're like, duh, boss, what are you trying to do? I'm done. I'm finished. It's too hot. I can't do it. Here's some more water. Doesn't matter. That's not my problem. It's too hot. Yes, but that means you need more water. No, it doesn't. It's too hot. People will never understand. And so I'm here talking about massive societal change. And I know. It can't be done. It can't be done. So when does the planet cool off on its own? Because we're not going to do fuck all. When is the planet going to cool off on its own so that the C3 plants that we basically eat, that's our food supply, can start to grow again in the places where they used to grow? Oh, I don't know. 50,000 years? 100,000 years? Yeah. We're kind of screwed. Now, is there much evidence right now that our food crops are succumbing to the temperature? Not really, but it's out there. So we could right now, if we just admitted that the physics of this shit show is going to undo us completely, and we're going to have a massive population collapse, probably due to some combination of high temperatures and starvation. Well, maybe we could turn things around right now. Will we? No. Are you kidding? Of course not. Could we? Yeah. No. No, we will someday. Probably we'll do it on accident. We'll have a World War III over diminishing resources, and that will kind of shut everything down, right? That would do. World War III would definitely do it. If the Saudi oil terminals and the Iranian oil terminals and every place that there's oil, if all those places were blown up and set on fire and rendered radioactive and all this kind of stuff, that would curtail carbon emissions into the atmosphere. But then you're not feeding 8,000 million people anymore. They're all going to starve, and they're going to die real quick. A couple of weeks, a month, after the food basically is curtailed because we shut down fossil fuels abruptly. A few weeks after that, they're going to be dead of starvation. And all the other things that are going to happen to them. But we could go through 8,000 million people like a dose of salt under the right conditions. We could, and that's massive societal change. We didn't choose the pathway that would have given us a soft landing. Is that what you want to call it? Yeah, maybe a soft landing, possibly. Maybe we don't lose 99% of the human population. Maybe we only lose 90%. So a soft landing, relatively speaking. We didn't do that. Couldn't, wouldn't, whatever. Doesn't matter. No one will ever write a history book that explains why we didn't do it. We just didn't do it. There won't be anybody writing the history and doing the analysis of why we didn't do it. Well, we didn't do it because of capitalism and greed and profits and political ideology. Lots of reasons why we didn't do it. It doesn't matter. We didn't do it. And, so sometime down the future from now, 5 years, 10 years, 15, something like that, I'll be alive to see it. We'll have a massive die-off. And rather than 90%, which is a soft landing because we deliberately decided to back away from this, it'll be 99%. And then the 1% that survive might still be scrambling around looking for food. Where are they going to grow their food? Well, someplace cooler. Oh, well, that means we'd grow it in the north. Have you seen the north? Have you even seen what's going on in the north? Well, for one thing, 9 months out of the year, it's in darkness. Okay? Well, 6 months out of the year. 6 months out of the year, it's in darkness. 9 months out of the year, it's too cold, regardless. And you have a growing season that's like 2-3 months long. And have you ever been up there? Have you ever looked around, flown over it? It's all trees or permafrost. And you're going to have to clear all that out and create arable land. Have you ever tried to create arable land? No, you haven't. No one has tried to do that. It's really, really hard. Talk to an agronomist. Talk to somebody who's dealing with best practices in farmland preservation and creation. Yeah, try making arable land. Oh, I dare you. Just try. Go ahead. It's generational change. It takes decades to do it properly. And it takes 2 or 3 years to just completely fuck it up again. You have to be on board with managing your farmland. And if you think you're going to do that above the Arctic Circle, no, you're not. You are not going to be doing that. No, sorry, not happening. Yeah, it's cool enough. I guess you could. There's no land. And when there is land, there's no sun. The growing season is a month long. And how many people are you going to feed with a growing season that's a month long? Oh, and by the way, since it's at the north of the planet, it's the area is a quarter the size of our current arable land in the temperate regions that wind around the planet at about 30 latitude north. You up to 60 or 80 latitude north, the area of the planet is much, much smaller. It's a fraction of the size. And it's all forested, or it's permafrost. And when the frost melts, it's mud. And it's not arable land. It's just not. So we're going to have some massive societal change here, people. When it gets hot enough that the C3 plants start to shut down, and that's a metabolic question. It's not water. It's not fertilizer. Their chemistry cannot proceed. When it's hot enough that their chemistry cannot proceed, then you're not going to have any food. So while Earth Overshoot Day is a concept and it's something to think about, it's abstract and removed enough from the actual problem we face to really not be very helpful. It's not prescriptive. What are you supposed to do? It doesn't tell you what to do. I'm here to tell you what to do. Oh, and by the way, global heating tells you what to do. You must stop burning fossil fuels. Oh, wow, that's going to hurt. That's going to leave a mark. Yeah. What we're talking about is massive societal change. And almost anything you do, or don't do, or do wrong, or do too late, almost anything you do or don't do leads to the same destination. And I don't know how to say this, except to say it clearly. Everything we know today is predicated on constant, abundant, and increasing use of fossil fuels. Increasing use of fossil fuels, not steady use of fossil fuels, and certainly not decreasing use of fossil fuels. Everything we know today, including how to feed, clothe, and house 8,000 million people, 8 billion people, is predicated on the increasing use of fossil fuels every single day. And anything you do in the direction of massive societal change to try and save yourself from the inevitable outcome of global heating, anything you attempt, anything you identify, any direction you go, is going to come back. It's going to loop around. It's going to come back. It's going to point to the same thing. You have to do this first. You must eliminate the consumption of fossil fuels, not increase them, not hold them steady, and not net zero, and not any other euphemism. You must zero out the consumption of fossil fuels, which is equivalent to and will result in no extraction of natural gas and transportation, no extraction of coal and transportation, no pumping of crude oil, transportation of crude oil, or refining crude oil into other products. Nothing. None of those things can happen. Not net zero, actual zero. At that level of societal change, then you can have some, not total, some expectation that the heating of the earth will abate. Some expectation. It's not even guaranteed at that point. We are so far gone at this point that even if you made that level of societal change, leaving all fossil fuels in the ground, no further development of these resources, you might save yourself from global heating, but I don't know. You still have to do it, by the way. I mean, it's a last gasp effort. We're all drowning, and you're going to make this last effort to try and haul yourself out of the water before you finally go down, and that means leaving all fossil fuels in the ground. And this is our last gasp. This is our last chance. This is like do it or die, and it still may not be enough. And yet, that would be massive societal change. Eliminating our consumption of fossil fuels at this point is so inconceivable a level of societal change. It's just utterly defies categorization, utterly beyond the pale of imagination. There's no Star Trek future that doesn't include massive consumption of fossil fuels. This is so hard to imagine. This is so hard to implement. This is so hard to sell to anybody as a concept. And yet, we have to do it. We have to do it. And if we don't do it, then the knock-on effects of global heating are going to come along and kill us. That's it. Which is also massive societal change. Will we adopt a model of massive societal change that we get out of this doom loop voluntarily and deliberately? No, we won't. Instead, massive societal change will hit us as everything in the earth that we need drains into garbage, as in this picture. And then we die. Also, massive societal change. Do you or don't you? At this point, it doesn't even matter. You're going to get massive societal change whether you like it or not. So here we are on Earth Overshoot Day. Not a bad day to discuss massive societal change. Are we going to get any? Absolutely. We will either do it voluntarily and deliberately and with planning and fairness and justice and everything else, or it'll be forced upon us. There's no third path. Oh, but electric cars and alternative energy. There's no third path, people. We don't get fertilizer from wind farms. Solar energy doesn't cool the planet and save the C3 plants from shutdown. There's no way out. There's no easy way to do this. There's no way to buy our way out of this. We have to leave fossil fuels in the ground. And if that's massive societal change, well, that's what we're here to talk about. Abandoning all fossil fuel consumption results in a massive human die-off. Probably 999 out of 1,000 people perish. From starvation, from dehydration, from refugee crises, from the spread of disease, from lack of housing, from the heat. The heat didn't go anywhere. Still have the heat. Maybe can't even save yourself from it without fossil fuels. Still have the heat. Still kills you. Or we can do the desperate thing and leave fossil fuels in the ground and hope that keeps the planet from getting hot. And then we kill people because we can't feed them. I consider that a soft landing, by the way. Getting rid of fossil fuels and then hoping you can save as many people as possible because you kind of planned to have to do that. That's a soft landing. That's the best case scenario. And you probably still get a 90% die off. I don't see how this planet can support 8,000 million humans without fossil fuels. It just can't. It's just not possible. I'm sorry. It's just not possible. And when you stop the fossil fuels, then how many people can you support then? 10% of the current population is 800 million people. Wow. Oh, God almighty. Are you kidding me? This planet to support 800 million people without the constant inputs of fossil fuels? Man, no. I'm sorry. That is just not in the cards, okay? That is not going to happen. 800 million people without fossil fuels? Are you fucking kidding me? You are fucking kidding me, right? Well, we'll have wind and solar. Yeah, that's not going to feed anybody. That doesn't feed one person. Not one. Oh, you'll have cell towers and you'll have electricity for your iPhone, but you won't feed anybody with solar and wind. Solar and wind is good, but you're not going to feed anybody and they're going to die. And how many people do we end up with when finally we get to a number where we can feed the people with what's left of the earth after we've, turned half of it into garbage? It's not 800 million, and it's not 80 million, which is a 1% survival rate. I doubt it's even 80 million people. It might be 8 million people can survive on this earth without constant inputs of fossil fuels, given the problems created by global heating. And all the damage we've caused to the natural system, which cannot be reversed, except over geologic time, which is tens of hundreds of thousands of years. Yeah, and if we end up with less than 1% of the population, then we're talking about 999 out of 1,000 people dying. What can I say? That's the setup. That's the deal, folks. That is the deal. That's what's being sold to us. That's what's being sent our way. And we can either adopt massive societal change and try and avert some of the worst of that, do it deliberately and with an eye to justice and equity and fairness. Yeah, well, that sounds good to me. Or we can just go balls to the walls, straight over the cliff, right down into the jagged rocks and just see what happens. Wow. Well, that's the default, by the way. Going over the cliff at full speed, full pedal to the metal, and over and down into the jagged rocks below, and see who crawls out of the wreckage, what shape they're in. Yeah, that's the default. That's what we're going to do. Wow. Okay. Wow. Part 3 in the series. How far can I go with this? What do you think? There's more. Today is Earth Overshoot Day. One of these days, on Earth Overshoot Day, the next day will be World War III, as we fight over the last of the diminishing resources. That's what happens when you run out of water and food and fibers and all the other things. You can't grow them anymore. It's just not available. It's gone. We used it up. We ate it up. And now we've run out. And, burn all the fossil fuels you want to. The C3 plants are done. They give up. They just fall over in the fields and they're done. You need another planet now. You need another planet that isn't so hot. And then maybe you can grow your C3 plants, which is your food crops. Short of that, short of finding another planet, you're done on this one. So that's what I got for you. I know it's grim, isn't it? Aren't I having fun? Aren't I just a bucket of laughs? I'm here saying the things that nobody else wants to say. Here on Earth Overshoot Day, I'm saying the thing that everybody is walking away from and looking away from and pretending doesn't happen. Eventually, we're done. And we're getting closer every day. When are we done? I don't know. One of these years, Earth Overshoot Day will come around and we'll all look at each other and say, yeah, I guess this is the last of the Earth Overshoot days. Now, there's not going to be enough of us left to overshoot anything. If you want more of this kind of content, don't forget to like and subscribe I'll be back with a part 4 probably at some point. Right now I have other things to do. And I've had enough of this topic for today. Damn it. Don't die. That's my advice.